Is it the calories that matter? Calories in, calories out? Or is it the macros? You know what I think, but let's see what is MyFitnessPal going to say. Coach Greg and most of you have heard of MyFitnessPal, and they've recently come up with a video. It's been posted. It's called, Do Macros Matter, or Should I Focus on Calories? This is right up my alley. I can't wait to watch this video. It's only a minute and a half long. And so, is it the calories that matter? Calories in, calories out? Or is it the macros? You know what I think, but let's see what is MyFitnessPal going to say.
Today's question is, do macros matter, or should I just worry about calories in versus calories out? The answer is yes and no.
And of course, it's yes and no. Macros matter to an extent, as in you can't just not eat protein. If you don't eat any protein, you're not building muscle. You can't avoid all fats. So you can't just say, I'm only going to worry about calories and only eat licorice and not consider that you need protein to build muscle. You need some healthy fats as well. So do macros matter? Yeah, you need to have enough of the macros that you need. But overall, it's not the percentage of each one. It's if you're in a calorie deficit that decides if you lose weight. You can't just have the perfect balance. 40% this, 40% that, 30% that, and as long as you eat the right percentages, you lose weight. Because at the end of the day, it's calories in, calories out. But what are they going to say?
Getting the right balance of macronutrients is important. Protein, carbohydrates, and fat are all necessary to function optimally.
So keto dieters of the world, are you listening to this? She said you need protein, fat, and carbohydrates. What does Coach Greg think? You might be thinking, I think you need carbs, but you actually don't. You can survive no problem without carbs. Your body can use ketones rather than sugar. But for me, I perform more optimally if I combine protein, fats, and carbs rather than just cutting carbs out of the equation.
If you eat too few of one macronutrient, you're likely to miss out on certain micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, that are necessary for normal functioning and exercising at peak capacity.
Exactly. For example, there are fat-soluble vitamins, vitamins A, D, E, and K. It's shocking that I still remember this from university from 25 years ago. So yes, you do need to consume fat. You can't go without fat because there's micronutrients that need fat to properly be absorbed.
Don't have to obsess about counting macros. Simply sticking to the general guidelines for macronutrient intake is best for most adults. That's 45 to 65% carbohydrates.
So she suggests 45 to 65% carbs. So about half of your calories should probably come from carbohydrates. So why are you being a carbophobe when 45 to 65% is recommended? That is a shit ton of carbs. Half of your diet, carbohydrates.
10 to 35% protein.
Did you know that 35% is literally 3.5 times more than 10%? So there's a huge range. I'm going to suggest that unless you're an idiot or you don't care about building muscle or you just can't afford to eat protein, you need more than 10% of your diet to come from protein. Think of it, 10%. Let's say you're on a 2,000 calorie diet. That's 50 grams of protein a day. How many of y'all are eating 50 grams of protein if you're at 2,000 calories? And think if you're on a diet, 1,200 calories. That would literally be 30 grams of protein. So I think it's better to approach the 35%. The higher you get that, the more satiated you will be. You're going to be more full if you consume more protein. Also, there is something known as the thermic effect of food, and it's higher for protein than carbs. But just because you can affect the calories out portion from eating more protein doesn't mean that calories in, calories out doesn't work. At the end of the day, it still boils down to calories in, calories out.
Now, if we're talking simply about weight loss, the answer is no. At the end of the day, weight loss is determined by calories in versus calories out. Studies show that when people are put on isocaloric diets,
I like how they have to say, when they're put on isocaloric diets, and that means the same, why don't they just say the same in the first place? Why waste the space? People are trying to brag about how smart they are. Isocaloric diets, which means the same calories. Why don't you just say, when people are put on the same calorie diets, it's simple, it's done. Isocaloric. Come on.
Studies show that when people are put on isocaloric diets, meaning exactly the same amount of calories, they lose the same amount of weight.
So even though it's been proven there is such a thing as the thermic effect of food, the studies that show that when people are put on the same amount of calories, regardless of the macros that they're eating, they still lose the same amount of weight. So if you're trying to lose weight, apparently, according to this, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what you think.
So what does that mean? It means calories in, calories out is what's going to determine weight loss. You might think you have to eat a certain percentage of macros here, certain percentage of macros there. It's not true. Get in the minimum amounts that you need. You need a minimum amount of protein and fat. You need it. I'd suggest you go for more of an optimal amount of protein, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, at least half a gram per pound, not 10%. But if you get more protein, you're going to be more satiated, more full, easier to stick to your diet. Also, don't neglect fat. You do need some fat, so don't say, I'm avoiding all fats. I never said to avoid all fats. I said to eat from all 4 food groups and try not to add too much unwanted fat. Fat has 9 calories per gram versus 4 calories per gram in protein or carbs. So as you can see, if you eat a lot of fat, chances are you're going to be eating a lot of calories.
Additionally, if you're getting all of your calories from high-fat, fiber-poor foods, you're going to be a lot hungrier than if you're eating fiber-rich whole foods.
Thank you. If you're getting most of your calories from fat, chances are it's going to be lower in fiber and you're not going to be as full. You're going to be hungrier. So those of you that think you can eat your peanut butters and your nuts and you eat a lot of fatty steaks, you're not going to be as full as those who don't, or at least limit them. So I'm not saying never eat it. I'm just saying if you're starving and you start eating peanut butter and nuts as a snack, you're probably going to eat too many calories.
Opt for quality foods and balanced meals, and you'll get more bang for your buck.
Isn't it a shame she didn't say, so get Coach Greg's cookbook? Because that is exactly what the cookbook is based on. That it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
About the macros, because we're trying to make sure you get enough protein, and of course you need the minimum amounts of fat, but what really matters at the end of the day is that you're full and that you're not in a caloric surplus, because if you are, you're going to gain weight, while if you're in a deficit, you're going to lose weight. So what the cookbook does, it allows you to eat all the delicious meals that you already enjoy, but it lowers the calories. So essentially what I'm saying is you can make your anabolic cake and eat it too. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IB Pro. Please watch one of the boobs. And don't forget to buy the freaking cookbooks, plural. There's 3 of them, training books. Coach Greg and his team, we can coach you better than last time. Don't forget to get what you need. And until next time, I'm out. Some of the micronutrients